Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. You may be confused today if you are talking to your friend or colleague or trying to communicate with anyone in the UK at exactly 11 a.m. British time today, because we have yet another 2-minute silence. Now, we had one yesterday, which is because on the Sunday closest to the 11th, there's a 2-minute silence and a big parade with our royals, as I mentioned in our weekly lesson. But we also have one on the 11th of November, which happens on this year to be on a Monday. So we had a 2-minute silence yesterday. There'll be a 2-minute silence today. And as I mentioned, this is something which pops up now and again throughout the year as well. If you're working in the UK, you'll be told to be quiet for 2 minutes today. They'll ring the fire alarm in your office to mark the beginning. And then again at the end. I mean, it's very embarrassing. You just have to sit there, do nothing, stare at your fingernails. I have no problem with the one of yesterday. I mean, really, I don't use it and I don't practice it to keep me quiet for 2 minutes. I think it takes a lot of effort. And I certainly don't respond to being told that I have to do it. I just feel like I'm being badgered into it. To be badgered into something, the same as the animal, it means to be forced into something. It's quite a common word. Oh, I'm being badgered into doing this from my boss. I have nothing against 2-minute silences, but I do like the idea of being given a choice. I do understand when people were alive who remembered relatives from the wars. Of course, it was very important for them. And there are still people around who maybe lost brothers and sisters. So for them, it's important. But for the rest of us, it really has no significance. So you may be a bit confused because the news reports today are rather conflicting. One is reporting very heavily on the parades of yesterday. A headline in BBC News says, "Nation falls silent as the King leads the commemoration for the war." But then again, today on the BBC, the headline is, "Scotland will have another 2-minute silence on Armistice Day." But actually, the whole country, the whole of the UK, has another silence today, not just Scotland. Why do we have these 2-minute silences? Well, according to Wikipedia, it says, in the UK and other countries within the Commonwealth, a 2-minute silence is observed as part of Remembrance Day, to remember those who died in conflict. This is held each year at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November. The silence coincides with the time in 1918 at which the First World War came to an end with the cessation of hostilities, and is generally observed at war memorials and in public places throughout the UK and Commonwealth. And then it goes on to say a 2-minute silence is also observed on Remembrance Sunday at 11 a.m. Okay, so we had the 11th of November commemoration yesterday on Remembrance Sunday, and because today is actually the 11th, we're having another one today. I'm surprised we get anything done, really. There's a big thing in Wikipedia to say why we do this, and there's even an instruction on how to observe a 2-minute silence. Well, you know, British people, we love that. We love to be told exactly what we should do because we are very uncomfortable with silence. So let's read through this. This is from Wikipedia entry, 2 minute silence. It says, how to observe the silence. At 11 a.m., the last post is played. Okay, that's a little trumpet song. The exhortation is then read. Not that I know of, it isn't. It just begins, doesn't it? The 2 minute silence begins. The end of the silence is signaled by another piece of music being played, which is called the rouse. And then it tells you more about that. And then it says here, the order of proceedings is not followed in the UK National Service of Remembrance in London, but is kept for regional services. Wow. So people take this very seriously. I mean, I'm not laughing at the actual silence. It is very important for some people, but as we move farther and farther away from the two world wars, this has become less and less important. And of course, because it's a government thing, many people try to observe it. There are those companies, of course, who won't be observing it, customer-facing people, such as in bank branches, for example, probably will not be doing this, although some of them put up a sign, please note, we will not be able to help you for 2 minutes. But in a supermarket where you're being served by a cashier, it's unlikely that she tells you, well, sorry, but I'm having my 2 minute silence, although she may be told that she has to do it. For me, the problem is the morality of the thing. I don't like being badgered into doing things. I don't like being pushed and told, you will do this when the fire alarm rings, because it's very much a thing which is all about your own conscience and whether you choose to do this or not. I think we should at least be given the choice, because if you don't do it, somebody somewhere could point a finger and say, oh, bad man, look, he didn't observe the 2 minute silence. And there are people around who would do that happily. I was in a coffee shop yesterday. I bought a coffee, decaf, of course, in the coffee shop. And while I was there, I also had a little bag of cookies in my bag. And I thought, oh, delicious. I'm going to have one of these cookies from my bag to go with my coffee. And there was a lady sitting at the other end of the coffee shop who was watching me. So I drank my coffee, I lifted a cookie from my bag, and I could see this woman staring at me with eyes which said, you didn't buy that cookie here, you brought that cookie with you, you bad man. And of course, I was being morally judged for this, even though I bought the cookie in the coffee shop. British people, we love to blame and point fingers. So if you don't observe the 2 minute silence in an office or when you're supposed to, yeah, you wouldn't get into trouble exactly, although if you work for the government, you might. But it would be noticed, I think, which again is why I don't like it, because there is no law which says you have to do it. The government, I understand, after all, the king is the head of the government, and he'll be doing it, so should you. But for the rest of us, well, who cares? I'm very sad about all of these people who've died in both wars, but please leave me alone and don't force me to be quiet for 2 minutes. I'm just having a look through our media to see when we had our last 2 minute silence. And it seems there's been quite a few of them over the last number of years. So, of course, there's the usual ones on Remembrance Sunday, then again on Armistice Day, yesterday and today. COVID 23rd of March 2021, we had a minute's silence to remember those who lost their lives. The Queen's husband died in 2021. We had a minute's silence for him. The death of the Queen, we had a minute's silence for her. 2017 Manchester bombing, we had a minute's silence for them. The Great Fire, which unfortunately destroyed a tower block in London, the Grenfell Tower Fire anniversary on the 14th of June every year. A minute's silence takes place for that. The London Bridge attack anniversary on the 3rd of June is another day that they tell us to shut up for a minute. So, yeah, like I say, you could be at work and find yourself suddenly being told that there's some kind of 1 minute or 2 minute silence. So, yeah, just to be aware of that. Yeah, another big story, which is riding on the back of Remembrance Sunday, is that our blood bank is running low of blood in the run-up to Christmas. So there's a big push to get people to donate blood. So if that's something you're interested in, ask your boss, because they might actually give you time off with pay to donate blood. That's quite common here. You don't get paid to give blood here in the UK, but it is still a nice thing to do. If you do it often enough, they'll give you a badge. And they don't even give you biscuits anymore. They used to give you a biscuit and a cup of coffee afterwards, but I think they've stopped that now. You just get given a very small cookie or drink, I think, and then you're told to leave immediately. Yeah, it used to be you could sit for an hour and happily munch away on a cookie. They were delicious cookies at the blood bank. Here, the blood bank is known as the Blood Transfusion Service. And yeah, I don't think they take my blood anymore. They have quite a strict criteria on whose blood they want. But if you are of a particular blood type, which is rare, you almost certainly should try to get to the blood bank in the UK. They're running short at this time of year in the run-up to Christmas. So please, if you can give blood, go and give it. Right, and that's it from me. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember, if you are trying to call anyone here at 11 a.m., they probably won't answer the phone. Well, no one answers their phone these days anyway, but if it's a company, you might find there's a problem between 11 a.m. and 11:02. So there we are. See you. Bye.